For many who are unfamiliar with the Remedy multiverse, seeing the video title referencing a music video may seem a bit out of place for the channel. For others though, it may be apparent, since Poets of the Fall is closely tied to the lore of Remedy games. Max Payne 2 and Control feature songs by them. Alan Wake referenced them by name and physically show them on the Harry Garrett Show. Another link is that the Poets are the real-life talent behind the in-game heavy metal band Old Gods of Asgard. In one of their music videos, the vocalist had the hotline object of power and used it as a microphone. For those looking to deep dive into a band in the same way we do for Remedy games, this is the one for you. Last week, a song from their soon-to-be-released Ghostlight album was shown off, along with the music video that everyone should go see if you have not already. Feel free to check it out before continuing this video. The song was so packed full of symbolism, I felt I needed to talk about it in some form. Please note that this is entirely my interpretation of the content and lyrics, so let me know if you have any other thoughts. With that said, let us begin our deep dive into Requiem for My Harlequin. It seems fitting to begin with the name. A requiem is a form of classical composition used at a funeral mass. It is intended to be a prayer for the souls of the dead at a funeral. The harlequin has seen many forms throughout the centuries. The modern image of a mute court jester that is the embodiment of a trickster originated in 16th century Italian comedy. The most descriptive ancestor may be Harlequin, which can refer to the devil or a will-o'-the-wisp. In various folklore, these are mysterious lights found in the wilderness said to mislead a traveler to a variety of ends. In literature, they are the allure of something that takes us off the path, leading us to get lost, or finding something we did not want in the pursuit. With this in mind, we shall interpret the harlequin as the internal will-o'-the-wisp, the aspect of the psyche that takes us off the path. Coincidentally, another name for these mysterious lights is a reference to the title of the album itself, Ghostlights. Before even beginning the music, we have a good idea of its purpose. This requiem is played to mark the death of the inner fool, as the song begins with the fortune teller placing a fool card onto the table. This is exactly what the character is intended to represent. Now, the inner fool is by no means negative. It is the part of our psyche that inspires us to be playful, to be silly, to tell jokes, and to take fanciful leaps of faith into the new stages of life. After all, only a fool would leap from the edge of a cliff and expect to survive. On the tarot card itself, this is the scene we witness. Standing on the edge of the cliff, the character is looking up, unconcerned with what lay below at the bottom of the mountain, only looking at the potential in the distance. Labeled as Key 0 of the Major Arcana, it contains the full potential of all other numbers. Like a seed, it contains the possibilities for things to occur. However, there is no point in having infinite potential if one refuses to leap from the cliff and actually use that potential. The little dog is the yapping voice in the back of our heads that tells us it is dangerous to step off the cliff. While it is usually a cautionary voice telling us to look before we leap, if the dog becomes too strong, it makes us fearful of leaving the safety of our inner child. Like Peter Pan, we become trapped in our Neverland, viewing adulthood or responsibility as something to be feared and avoided. Like the character in the music video, we can become possessed by the harlequin. The lyrics themselves describe a state of marching to the beat of your fool. For most of the video, the jester is trapped in the inverted fool energy, playing a stagnant game of life where the king is pushed forward and back. No progress being made. This is when he approaches the fortune teller for guidance. While the interpretation I'll give does not go by a typical 3-card spread, I'll support my thinking. The first card is laid to mark the present. The fool is his current state. Like the hero who refuses the call to action in the story, he is full of infinite potential, but afraid to leave the safety of home. Despite how good it can feel to continue to dance under the rose-petal rain, nothing will ever change. The second card is the trial that must be overcome to move forward. The lyrics tell us that chains of porcelain bind us to the fool. Chains that, unlike iron, are easily broken. The death card is the means of breaking those chains. The skeleton on the card is reaping a field of human remains, while a new sun emerges above the horizon. The death card represents transformation, to allow one aspect of ourselves to be cut away and allow a new one to emerge forth. The lyrics describe a phoenix rising from the ashes. After the fire, we will be reborn as a better version of ourselves. As symbolized by the bird that bursts into flames before rebirth, this can be a painful process. Use of the Death Arcana and the symbol of the Phoenix closely aligns with another philosophy of personal change. The first step of the alchemical process is calcination, which involves the element of fire. This fire burns away the ego, reducing you to ash along with any false personalities within you. With the ash remaining, we can now separate them into their base components: the conscious personality and the Harlequin personality. For the Jester in the video, the Harlequin became overinflated, leading him off the path like ghost lights. This personality became poisonous to the psyche as a whole. After the fires of calcination reduce the psyche to ash, we skip ahead to the third phase of the alchemical process: separation. This involves casting the old self to the winds and rediscovering the authentic self. By the end of the song, the Jester sits in the dressing room staring into a mirror. For the first time, he sees the reflection as not being identical to him. Only by sifting through the ashes of our burnt ego can we separate the components into the beneficial and poisonous parts. Mirrors are used in literature to peer into the soul and reflect back parts that we did not realize existed. In a way, a mirror is a tool to see a part of yourself that lies beneath the surface. The Jester proceeds to wipe away the makeup, to remove the uniform and the wig and throw it away. This is the death card in practice, to sever an aspect of himself that is no longer serving him. Just like the calcination process, this is a painful experience. The inner fool in the mirror is first confused, then afraid, angry, and then begins to openly weep. He is being exposed to the purifying flames. If the reflection could speak, it may plead with the other with words like, "Didn't I make you happy? Didn't I keep you safe? Why do you want me dead?" The Harlequin does serve a purpose, certainly, but when it consumes all aspects of the personality, it makes you into a flower bud that never blooms. It creates a cocoon around our lives and never allows us to break free and become a butterfly. With the trial complete, we can return to the fortune teller for the last card, the Magician. This is what the Jester will become if he is successful with the trial in the mirror. If the Fool is a seed of infinite potential, then the Magician is the active force that makes the seed sprout. It is the part of the self that takes that potential and creates a garden of pure beauty from it. On his altar lies the 4 aces of the minor arcana. At his disposal is the power of the wands, the cups, the swords, and the pentacles. What is the point of having infinite potential if one does not use it to actually create something? The Magician is the one who actively manifests their desires into the world, a task that can only be accomplished after the Fool jumps off the cliff. This Fool is a passive player in life, always dancing to the music of the world, buffeted by the winds or the waves and going wherever they take him. Conversely, the Magician is an active player. He takes life into his hands and creates what he wants. Once the painted face, the wig, and the clothes are removed, the Jester is now a man, and the first real smile is seen from him. A genuine smile, unlike the painted-on one the Jester possessed. The man toasts a glass of wine to the mirror, showing respect for the Harlequin that has now vanished. This personality served its purpose, but now it is no longer needed. With that scene, the last notes of this Requiem play. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed, please drop a like as it really does help out the channel. If you would like updates on new uploads, feel free to subscribe or follow me on Twitter. Have a good day and peace be with you all.